Netflix has released the final episodes of the docuseries Harry and Meghan. Most of the scuttlebutt is around Prince Harry's impressions of a 2020 meeting with members of the royal family where he says his brother, Prince William, screamed and shouted at him. Harry says that was the day the plan was discussed to walk away as a senior member of the royal family. Also, in a clip released by Netflix, the couple discuss how the constant attention shown to her by the media was the source of hurt feelings.
First time that the penny dropped for her. Em and I spent the night in a room in Buckingham Palace after an event where every single member of the family, senior members of the family had been, including the Queen. And on the front page of the Telegraph, Meghan.
I went, oh my God.
She was like, but it's not my fault. And I said, I know. And my mum felt the same way.
CTV's chief international correspondent Paul Workman is in London. He joins us now with more. So, Paul, some people were saying after the last drop that there were really no big bombshells. What about this time? The final 3 episodes are now out there for consumption. Any big revelations?
Well, I guess the terms revelation and bombshells are subjective, aren't they? There was lots of very interesting things that people are going to be talking about, at least those who are interested in Harry and Meghan and the royal family and this program. As you talked about, Prince William and Harry had a big fight at Sandringham Palace when they were talking about Harry's future, and Harry in the documentary said, you know, it's terrifying to have my brother scream and shout at me, as if brothers don't have fights from time to time. We also learned that Harry blamed a tabloid newspaper here for his wife's miscarriage. He didn't say exactly why, but it seemed to be the harassment from the newspaper and the pressure and the stress that she was under from some of that reporting. What did we hear? What else did we hear? Meghan at one point said she felt she was fed to the wolves by the royal family, or by the institution, I suppose I should say, because they weren't looking after her well enough and weren't listening to her concerns and her fears and her worries. The palace, somebody who was close to the Queen for quite a long time, working in the royal family, had described her as a foreign organism coming into the palace, that meaning that somebody coming from outside, that she said she'd worked very, very hard to try to make them believe that she was going to fit in and be a true and loyal and strong member of the royal family. Well, we've seen how that turned out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, in terms of a response from the royal family, have we heard one, Paul?
Well, we heard that there isn't going to be one. Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace both today said that they are not going to be commenting on the Netflix documentary. They are moving on with other things. This is a big week, a Christmas week. There's a carol event that a large number of the members of the royal family are going to go to. And so they say they're going to be concentrating on those sorts of events, those sorts of things. So essentially, no comment.
And what about reaction to the show in the UK and in the media? Is this changing anyone's minds about how they feel towards Harry and Meghan, Paul?
Well, it's really hard to know. We don't have any instant polls to tell us how people are feeling. It would be all sort of people on the street commenting, taking one side or the other. I think that's really what this Netflix documentary is going to do. People are going to be either for Harry and Meghan or for the royal family. And that's part of the reason, I suppose, or part of the conflict that's coming up as a result of all of this. But what we have seen, and this is really quite interesting, is that all of the news outlets here, the newspapers, the television networks, have all been, as soon as the documentary was released this morning, were watching it and giving minute-to-the-minute rundowns of exactly what was being said in the documentary. So they were feeding it out to their readers and their viewers as it was being screened this morning. Really quite fascinating.
Well, clearly there's a big appetite for it. Paul, thank you so much. Good to see you this morning.